welcome to Master Classes for Retirement Living, class number 701. We're talking about downsizing fundamentals. And there's that beautiful view of our community taken from a drone, showing that gorgeous courtyard and all the greenery that surrounds us. We are going to be talking about our downsizing fundamentals. Anne Frank, Barb Dull, and Claudia Scheibel are all marketing counselors with us. And to the right, I thought it would be appropriate to have us talk about downsizing into a really beautiful looking apartment. Isn't that a nice entryway coming in to our carbon style apartment? So I'm going to do this section because we do have new people that join us every week, and I want them to understand why we are going through these master classes. It's all about planning your retirement. I feel that there are so many choices available to us now as we do plan our retirement. We're programmed as we go through life, whether we go to school, we graduate, we take a gap year maybe, then we go to college or university and we pick a major, we get a job, we may get married, we may buy a house, we may move all over with our work. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, your retirement is upon you. And what is it that you want your retirement to look like? So we want you to think a little bit and envision how your future will be. Are you going to travel and see new places and things? Will you spend time with family members? Or are you really going to devote some time to a hobby that you just haven't had before? Maybe it might be painting or music or dance. A lot of people like to participate in lifelong learning. We're very lucky here in Pittsburgh to have Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh offer OSHER, O-S-H-E-R, OSHER classes for seniors as part of lifelong learning. And maybe this is the time that you're actually able to give back to your community as a tutor, a docent, a coach, or maybe a mentor. And then I've heard from some people that say, I've worked my entire life. I want to eat, drink, and be merry. And that's okay too. And probably your retirement will have all of these elements in it. So in order for you to free up the time for you to do the things you want to do, are you living in the right residence? Maybe it would be better if you moved to one level living. That would make your life a lot easier. Maybe you're done with that outdoor or indoor maintenance, new roof, new appliances. Maybe you want to not have to cut the yard anymore or shovel that snow. Wouldn't it be nice to just lock the door and leave to travel without worrying about the premises where you live? And if you're like a lot of Pittsburgh folks, you may have lived in your neighborhood for 30, 40, sometimes 50 years. And I bet during that time that your neighborhood has changed. And maybe you don't know the neighbors that are around you any longer. Wouldn't it be nice to reach out and make new friends and have new neighbors that are right next to you? And we've all learned through this pandemic how important it is to be able to get outdoors, to have parks and places where you can walk and enjoy the fresh air and the beautiful sights. At some point, we're going to be able to open our cultural events again. And wouldn't it be nice to be able to just slip into town and be able to enjoy those? And the last thing you might want to be thinking about as you're again looking at your retirement would be, how close are you to healthcare? Again, the pandemic has taught us that sometimes we need healthcare in a hurry, and it's good to know that it's close. Here at Providence Point, healthcare is within 1 mile of the community. In prior classes, we've talked about the 4 H's of life plan communities. One of them is housing. Of course, we have healthcare and hospitality and the holistic wellness. And those are all things that are very, very important to you when you're looking at those 4 H's. And today we're just going to expand a little bit about downsizing, because usually people need to downsize before they can move into a life plan community. Like I said, they may have lived in their home for 50 years, and trying to do that downsizing can be a bit overwhelming at times. So let's talk about downsizing and organizing and simplifying for a minute. Those words resonate with us. We hear about it everywhere. We look, magazines, podcasts, newspapers, documentaries, makeovers on HGTV, content-driven articles all talk about how happy, satisfied, or better our lives would be. And I would agree. And statistically, it has been proven that indeed our lives do get better, but it also causes us anxiety. So we see the opposite side of the spectrum where we have hoarders and the shaming of them socially for their uncontrollable compunction to save everything that crosses their paths because they may need it someday, or their inability to just be able to get rid of things. Some shows offer them counseling sessions to help with this obsession. Somewhere in the middle is where most of us are. We have a lot of stuff, but we can get rid of stuff. It's just hard to get rid of it. We often want to clear things out, but as I said, it can be overwhelming at times. So here we're going to talk about how do we start to clean things up and make it so that we can transition ourselves into that new vision of what our retirement would look like. So let's start with the basics. What we see on social media, on our television, on in our things we read is we're being bombarded continually with things that are being promoted as things we need. And some of them are really exciting and sound like a lot of fun and want to try things out. But when we do, they become a part of our household. And then where do they reside? So organizing experts always say a place for everything and everything in its place. And if you have a lot of stuff, it's maybe difficult to find a new place to put things. And that's what's making the clutter even worse. You have things sitting out because they don't have a home because there's no room for them. So what if there is no more space in that cupboard for the latest acquisition? What do you do with those things? Do you move some things to the attic or a storage room or the garage? Or do you pay for a remote storage room for putting these things that you don't want to leave? Online, you can find out how to store things. And then look on the left-hand side there, 52 weeks to an organized home, the 2021 plan. And when I was looking that up, I saw that it went back all the way to 2015. So sometimes it takes a little longer than you might think, but they do have it. And it's a nice starting point. So there are ways out there that are promoted. And so we could talk about that a little bit. So one of the ways to free up space is by removing unneeded items. There are free shredding events that are held annually in most municipalities, and they're at no cost. There are also free electronic recycling events in many municipalities held annually. So that can include vacuum cleaners, computers, printers, routers, telephone systems, TVs, radios, keyboards. There are also other areas where you can go and pay to have those things recycled if you're in a hurry to get rid of them, but there are free ones, so be on the lookout for them. There's also a terrific resource council here. It's called the Pennsylvania Resource Council that in each section of the county, they hold an event during the year. So there are 4 opportunities for you to recycle, hard to recycle items like paint, fertilizer, cleaning supplies. So check up again for that. And that Pennsylvania Resource Council can be found online. There are also places where you can recycle that are local. You can do Lowe's. They offer recycling of fluorescent light bulbs, batteries, cell phones, and plastic bags. Other things that have been done recently are methods that work. One are the Marie Kondo books. And you can see the title of the book there. It's called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And she has a very unique way of folding, of getting rid of things. So it's a fun thing. And you can see that this one is an Audible that you can pull out and listen to. So you don't have to necessarily be reading all the time. But it does make you commit yourself to tidying up. It helps you imagine your real and ideal lifestyle. She talks about taking everything out of a closet before you even do anything with it, and then sorting it out, and then putting it back, the things that you want to keep. So the thing I think is very interesting too is it has been shown that when you touch things, it becomes a part of who you are and your circle. So the longer you've had something and you've used it or you've kept it for that period of time, you really are committed to it because you have touched it so many times. And she gives you a little way of saying goodbye to them. So she has you say thank you to the item that you're getting rid of for its good service to you during its lifetime. And then she wishes it well and sends it on its way to the next person. So it's fun the way that she steps through the process. And one of the questions she always asks that you check with yourself on before you get rid of something is, does it spark joy in you? So that's a word that you want to remember too. You may have something and it may be in perfect shape, but you don't really like it, but you maybe spent some money on it and you feel like you need to try and get it back into your sequence of use in your home. But if it doesn't spark joy, it's not something that you need or want to keep. So some basic decluttering tips I think are in place here at this point. And one of them is, take everything out of the closet and evaluate it. If it hasn't been worn for a year, it probably will not be in the future. Is it the right size, or do you have a whole wardrobe of things when you weighed X, and then you have a whole wardrobe of things when you weigh X plus? So is it in good shape? Is it the right size? Is it in style? And would you wear it again? And you're not supposed to consider the cost of what you paid for it initially, because that's all water under the bridge. You don't need to think about that. And then another trick that I've heard is that when you're putting all the things back into your closet, you put all the hangers facing one way. And then when you wear the item, you reverse it when you hang it in the closet. And that way, visually, you can see what has not been worn. And that makes it easier to get rid of when you go back and do decluttering again. So it's nice to think of having a beautiful closet all organized like the one on the right. And it does take time and it does take tidying, and you have to be vigilant on it. So the other thing you can do is sorting things room by room. So one, they tell you to get different boxes and to have them labeled. So I've done them based on a couple of things that I read. One, box A, that you take with you into the room, that gives you things to donate. And then box B would be things that go to the trash. Box C would be things that go to storage, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then things that would actually stay in the room. And you might have pulled everything out of the room to paint it or to clean it out, but you can have that box D, which is kind of an extra box that will be things that stay. So let's go through those one by one. So box A are the things that you're going to donate. So these are things that are not being used on a regular basis. And you have to remember that there are people out there, especially now that we've had people unemployed for a while through the pandemic, that are in need of good quality clothing. I know Goodwill put out a request for clothing to be dropped off. They also need small housewares, linens, dishes, glasses, all at a discounted price. And favorite donation places can include the Goodwill stores, St. Vincent de Paul, Washington City Mission in Washington, PA, and then the Vietnam Veterans Pickup. So lots of places where your things that are not being utilized by you could be utilized, and people would be very happy to be able to use them. The second thing would be things that go to the trash, and this is pretty evident. Does it still work safely? Does it still serve a function? And would you want to use it for yourself? Can it be recycled? And if it's broken, torn, and worn beyond its limits, you probably need to send it to the trash. A next item would be putting things in their place. Again, that statement of a place for everything and everything in its place. So here are some things that could go to storage within your home. So for example, items could be holiday decorations that are stored in your holiday closet, or it might be collections of china stored in a hutch or a corner cupboard that you enjoy and take out when you use them. It can also include tools stored in the garage for household repairs. Are they just all laying around in different areas? Get them all in one place so that you can find what you have, get rid of what you don't need, and make it a little more organized. And it can be also areas for particular seasonal items like snow shovels or ice melter. If you put all of those things together and move them around in your garage as you need them, that's another good way to make sure that things are in their place. And then things that you definitely want to keep, you want to put in box D. And sometimes you may want to just be leaving it in that room, but if you've moved everything out of the room and you're concerned and saying, yes, I want this to stay, or you may decide to place these items in different places in the room, or even in a different room. That's okay. It's just mixing things up a little bit better. And it may make things more utilitarian because maybe they were there because that's where you needed them initially, but you don't need them there anymore. So again, just kind of think of repurposing them in different areas. And then another item would be box E with things to sell to others. So this is another item that's kind of new out there, but good quality furniture can be sold by consignment to others. So you're going to be paying a fee to someone to do it, but it's out of your house and out of your way. You can also do sales on Facebook Marketplace, or there are some online auction companies that put your things online and people can bid against each other for what it is, or they may just put that price out there. They're going willing and able to pay, and they'll come and pick it up from your front porch, or you can make other arrangements for them to pick them up. eBay is also a way to get rid of collections or other items, and there are people that will do it for you for a fee, but that's okay because again, they're out of your house and you are have made your decision on what to do with them. There's also a company called Poshmark. If you have designer bags or clothing or accessories, that they're always happy to be able to put those online and sell those to others when you're done with the season. And Amazon and Etsy are also selling platforms that are out there. You become a seller on their platform. So some important resources, I put these on because I know when we cleaned our garage out last time, we actually picked up a portable dumpster at a Home Depot and loaded it up. It was called the Bagster. And then you schedule an online pickup and it's easy and it's gone and you don't have to worry about garbage men not taking it because it's too big or you don't want to break it all down. There's also a PowerPoint that I think would be really good for you to see. It's at the budgetdumpster.com and it's how to declutter your home. And it's about 18 slides and it takes you through the entire house and it's really very well done. It's not so convoluted, it's very simplified and makes it easy so that you feel like, yeah, I can do that. We also have a booklet that we'll send to you electronically. And in the back of that, I really want to point out that there are some good contacts for you. People that have consignment shops and places that will accept desks and that kind of thing for you to utilize if you need. The other thing I want to say is be kind to yourself. The stuff that you have collected has oftentimes taken your lifetime to collect, and it's going to take more than a weekend to accomplish the task of downsizing. Just be glad that you're able to attack the issue and start working on it, and you'll make some good progress. So today's takeaway, 1, it has been statistically and scientifically proven that downsizing can be freeing and helps your happiness factor. Decluttering makes your home more enjoyable. Giving unused items to someone that needs them is empowering for that person, and it also gives the giver a sense of satisfaction. So both sides win on that. Selling unused items also puts cash in your pocket for new experiences or newly needed items for your move. And the recycling of unusable electronic, paper, glass, clothing, and furniture items is good for the planet. That old reuse, repurpose, and recycle mantra is very important. And keeping the things that spark joy for you increases your happiness. And ask about help with your downsizing. Sometimes the life plan communities have things set up that will help you to do that. For example, Providence Point provides our residents with 10 hours of moving assistance, and this can include help with your floor plan, that there's a designer that will help you place your furniture, and also helps with the unpacking and managing the move when you are here at the community. It's time well spent. And yes, things may not be in exactly the right place when you want them in your kitchen, but they're going to be in your kitchen and you'll be able to find them. And all those big boxes that are there on the day of the move are gone. Thank you for joining us. See you soon.